I don't feel comfortable.
Don't feel comfortable, but here we are.
Yeah, that's true.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning, by the way.
It really is.
We're just sitting out here talking bullshit.
Yeah.
Bigfoot and lore of the Appalachia. Everybody likes the lore of Appalachia, don't they?
Most people do, but it's not lore, it's truth.
Yeah, but some people call it lore because they don't know if it's true.
That's because they've not experienced
People
it.
around here know it's true.
That's because they haven't experienced it.
Yeah, exactly. We all have experiences with weird, crazy stuff going on.
Appalachia is the oldest mountain chain in the whole country, in the whole world.
Yes.
All right, so, but
now you're better on this than I am. Where does that stem from? The Appalachian Mountains goes from way far east coast, and it kind of drops down.
It goes all the way from Canada all the way down to almost the middle of Georgia and Alabama.
Really? See,
But
I thought
now-
it made like a U shape.
It sort of does. It sort of does, but we live in the Cumberland Mountains,
Yeah,
which is even
Cumberland
older.
Plateau, right?
Technically, it's a plateau, but it's the stem of Cumberland Mountains. It's the oldest mountain range in the entire country.
Oh yeah.
But our folklore comes from the old days. All right. It comes from Scotch-Irish beliefs and German beliefs and Norwegian beliefs. And
So you're what? A lot of Scotch-Irish,
German, Scotch-Irish,
Cherokee
and
mix.
Cherokee. A lot of Cherokee.
See, my great grandma, you would think she was actually was a full-blooded Cherokee
As
Indian.
was mine.
My uncle actually has his card. He's got more than 80% Cherokee Indian. I know it drops every generation, but I could probably get my card too.
It only drops about 1/8% per generation.
Yeah. So we have a lot of Cherokee Indian heritage. So I think that's a lot of the reason that every time me and this guy's together that's talking, we always have something weird happen. Every time we're in the woods, every time we're doing, oh my gosh.
Even if we're just riding around, we have weird stuff that doesn't make any sense.
We've rode around all night long. We decided to take a break and just decide to record some of this stuff because I think that you guys will like this shit.
The whole notion that people who thinks that things that don't exist, they don't understand, and they've never experienced it.
They've never got inside of a Ford Explorer like we have tonight and just drove around in the woods and found out.
Or even just back in the day in an old Jeep, and then have, like you just mentioned earlier, what happened to your father, and what I mentioned what happened to my grandfather and everything. That's stories that don't make the headlines because it stays hidden because people don't want to bring it out because they feel like they're going to be judged.
Yeah. Like they're not going to be told the truth, and that's something else
took serious.
That's something else I want to do with this channel, actually. If somebody wants to bring a story out, I'll tell it.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be in just a general area.
Well, anywhere.
If
I'm into anything cryptozoology.
As am I.
And
history.
And history.
So
obviously, my channel is based on a history platform, but it's cryptozoology is just crazy to me. I'm into that more than I'm into anything on God's green earth.
And what's sad about that, though, they say it's cryptozoology, right?
Yeah.
All right. So for a long time, I'm old enough that I'm quite a bit older than you.
I'm 28. You're 39. Right?
I'm almost 40. Yes. But I grew up with no cell phones. I grew up with no internet and stuff like that. But back in the day, for instance, the giant squid.
Yeah.
All right.
I've heard
the giant squid was supposed to have been a myth. All right. The mountain ape
The Bell Witch. That's what I've heard.
Well, yes.
Bell Witch. The thing of it is if any of these stories of, let's say, the Michigan Dogman, the Kentucky Hellhound, the
Tennessee
Wildman,
which has multiple cases on that.
What brought these stories to life? What started bringing this stuff to life if it wasn't true to begin with? There is ancient artifacts. There is ancient paintings in caves of big, tall dog men. Is there not?
There is.
Where did that come from?
Not just big, tall dog men, but also big, hairy
giants.
Hairy men and giants.
We had giants and
all these Native American tribes have names for these, entities or animals or creatures or whatever.
If you talk to the Navajo,
oh Lord, yes,
and you tried to mention a skinwalker to the Navajo, they would probably behead you.
Not just the Navajo, but also most of the the Midwest tribes.
So, really? See, I've always heard the Navajo was just really thick on you can't even mention that name.
They don't mention the name. They don't talk about it. But at the same time, you also could talk about the Chickamauga and all them, and they're the Cherokee. They don't talk about the they don't talk about that in our general area. We don't have that type of thing, but we have they have countless names for the big, we call it Bigfoot, but Sasquatch and stuff like that.
I've heard some people call it both.
Yeah.
In the same sense, Bigfoot, Sasquatch.
Which Bigfoot didn't come around until the 1940s and 50s and 60s. It was a logging camp out west,
Wexford County, right?
I believe so. They were a bunch of loggers, and all of a sudden they went out to the logging field and they saw a big ass foot.
I'm wrong.
No, it was out west in
Wexford County was in Michigan, and that's where one of the dog.
No, that's a dog.
The history of the dog man.
Washington State is where the term Bigfoot has come about. Yeah. But now that doesn't discredit the other names and stories. That's just something that us white folk and Americans have come about.
Yeah. We all have different terminology down here than, like if you're way up north and you see a Yeti, that's what you see up north.
Well, technically a Yeti is out in
abominable snow
Asia and China and places in Tibet.
Yeah,
but now
Canada and Alaska.
Up in Canada and Alaska, technically it would be a Yeti or a bottomless snowman or whatever.
We call them Bigfoot because we're lazy here and they got big feet.
Well, it's not that we're lazy. We're just we're simple people.
Simple-minded. we're simple-minded folk.
But that doesn't discredit what we see and what we've heard and what we've acknowledged as what has happened.
Well, a story of mine, I'll get into it because you'll like this. I used to be a big coon hunter back in the day. I had a little flatbed, wooden bed Toyota. I think you remember seeing that.
I do remember it, yes.
My stepdad told me, you can keep that, and you can use it. Whatever. Well, we had a dog box, big metal dog box. We had 2 dogs. I took 1 dog with me that night. Mm-hmm. Well, I took that dog. We went to the O&W, and if anybody on the channel don't know what O&W is, it's Oneida and Western Railroad. There's a big bridge down there, blah, blah, blah. Well, I went down to O&W, and I let that dog out. And it run up in the woods, and I was thinking, hell, I'm going to chase this dog all over the place. Well, it went up there about just long enough for me to get the gun loaded. And it come back, and it run and jumped up on the bed of the truck and got back in its cage. We're sitting there shaking. I was like, what the heck is wrong with this? So I was always taught when I was coon hunting, you can't be nice to them dogs. You can't not
You're not supposed to, no.
You're not supposed to be that dog's friend when
you're its master.
You're its master. It's supposed to do it as it's told.
Right.
So I got it by the collar. I drug it out of that dog box, and I said, go hunt. Go. And it did. It run back up there. Its name was Crook. It was a black and tan, big old dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he wasn't scared of nothing. So that's what made me scared. When I heard him whimper, and he come back a limping, and he could barely jump in the back of the truck. And I was like, good gosh, all right, whatever. You know, I was starting to feel uneasy at this point because he's limping already, and I'm thinking, you know,
what's gotten into him?
Yeah, so I put him in that dog box. I locked him up. I got in the truck, and when I shut the door, and if you remember, this is a single cab, 87 model Toyota short bed.
You trying to say I'm old?
With a flatbed on. No, I'm just trying to give you a scale of the truck. It was a tiny truck.
That truck's still newer than I am.
That truck was tiny, though. That truck was tiny, all right? And I shut the door. I went to start it up, and by the time that truck cranked up, I felt the whole thing shake. I was like, good gosh. I look out the back window. There's this big old giant something, you know, reaching up, and it's getting a hold of this dog box. The dog's going crazy in the box at this point, and it's trying to drag that whole box off that truck. It's trying to get my dog, you know.
It's food.
Well, I just put that old Toyota to the floor. You know, I was in high school at that time, and I was just borrowing that truck. That was my stepdad's truck. Well, I took off, and I run way too fast down that road. But that was my first real experience with something that I couldn't explain.
Right.
Like, there's no human going to grab a dog box standing flat-footed behind a Toyota truck with dog box bolted up toward the front of the bed and shaking the truck trying to rip that dog box off.
No.
There's no human. There's no bear.
No.
I'm sorry.
No.
There's
not around here. The bears don't get big enough to
there is no black
like
bear out there that's that mean. That's that bad.
Brazen. That fucking brazen.
Yeah.
Know? So
a black bear sees a human around here, and I mean,
normally they run.
They usually run away from you.
Yeah, normally.
And it's just like a coyote. You see one or two coyotes, they usually run away from you.
Unless there's a pack of 5
If you got a pack of coyotes, you have a problem. You need to stay alert. You need to stay well armed. You need to stay alert. Because they're probably going to try to get a hold of you. 9
times out of 10, they will try. And I've had first-hand experience with that.
I have too. Camping on Brimstone.
I was just up here. Well, back before Brimstone, not Brimstone, but Brewster's Mountain and Bear Creek was a subdivision. It was an old coal mine. And me and my dad, we decided to go up there and hunt, by golly. And this is his first-hand experience for what he was trying to say just now. We was up there hunting, and we took the OCJ5 up there. But my dad, we both walked out the power lines. And I walked off one side, and he walked off the other side, about probably 3 or 4 football fields away. And there's an old chicken house down at the bottom of the ridge there. His old farm. But I never thought nothing of it, you know what I'm saying? I'd never had any problems out of coyotes or any wildlife or nothing like that up to that point. I was only probably 11, 12 year old. But I tell you what, all of a sudden I saw one come up out of the holler down through there, and it saw me. It started hooting and hollering, and you know how coyotes are. It's alerting the other ones is what it's doing. And I didn't think nothing of it, though. I was like, whoa, that's weird. You know.
You have one coyote, it'll walk right past you and not give you a second thought.
Normally, yes. But whenever there's a pack nearby or a den, apparently I was in the wrong location at the wrong time, because there's a den down there and I didn't know. But all of a sudden, it lit up. They all lit up. Like, holy moly.
Sound like a bunch of women just screaming bloody murder.
Kinda, honestly.
They're eerie.
But they were all around me. You know what I'm saying? They were all around me. All I had was a 30-06 bolt action with only 5 rounds in the summer gun. Mind you, it'd do some damage. It's a 30-06. But, I mean, after those 5 rounds, I was pretty well screwed. I was pretty well screwed. And back then, I didn't carry a pistol or nothing, you know. But I took off. I didn't really take off. I kind of briskly walked. I'll say that. back out the trail toward the Jeep.
At that point, you're like, if I run, I'm going to get attacked.
But if I don't run, I'm still going to get attacked.
If I don't run, they might give me a chance, you know?
Either way, I was going to get chased. You know? I already knew that. But I remember reaching around. I did pop off a round because they were getting a little too close, and I scared them off a little bit. But this all just stems back to what he was trying to say. Wildlife is nothing to be played with. I got it. I made it to the Jeep. It had cloth doors and a cloth top.
The heck with that. I'd be scared to death.
Oh, dude, I was terrified. At that point, I done popped off a couple more rounds, and I was down to, like, I think 2 rounds at this point. And, but I popped off one, and then I hopped into the Jeep, but they were trying to claw through the fucking door, And my dad heard everything, all the commotion and everything, and he also carried a 30-06, a Model 700. And they only carried like 5 or 6, rounds in the chamber or whatever.
Yep.
But he come up and he shot off a few and he killed 2 or 3 of them. But point being, mind you, this is back in the 90s, okay, when this happened. We in our area, we were not well known for our wildlife or nothing like that. We still had a very low population of bear because they just reintroduced them back in the late 80s, early 90s. The coyote population was very, very, very limited at that point.
My dad tells you stories. He said he used to be able to go out to the river and just lay down.
Oh, yeah.
Not worry about anything.
Oh, yeah. Because my dad, too. And we used to, down at Bull Creek, at the river, by golly, we'd sleep on the ground on a sleeping bag and never think nothing of it. Have a fire, of course, but...
Now, I mean, and that's really one of the main stories. That's one of the main points about the National Park Service when they did come in here. And I will point that out.
But the question is, though...
They brought all this stuff back in here, and hey, you can't do nothing.
Well, yeah, but at the same time...
You're liable to get carried off by a black bear in the middle of the night.
Right, but at the same time, my point, what I was getting at is, all right, so... Getting on to the subject of the national parks and the national forests and stuff like that.
We've been on that subject.
Well, we're going to discuss it a little bit right now.
Yep.
We'll hit a few key notes, so to speak. So, all right.
As you all know, that's mainly where I do a lot of my exploring. National parks, the old... what is it, the Blevins Farms that I go to? That farm is part of what's fixing to be told.
All right. So, why, besides preserving history and natural resources and all the blah, 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 blah.
Which they do. They do.
It does do that. But at the same time, all these natural resources and the forest and the park services and stuff are all over the country. They displace these communities and these old homesteads and stuff and these families. These families have been on these properties for a very long time, like literally hundreds of years in some cases, from the 1700s.
Oh, yeah.
Some of my family, part of it. The Blevins is part of my family.
Yeah. They are, ain't they?
They are.
Peyton's, too.
Yeah. So, they displace all these people and say, all right, it's not safe for you to live here anymore. Why would they say it's not safe for you to live here anymore? Well, our families already know why. But at the same time, we've been living with it for centuries, okay? So why all of a sudden are they so concerned?
Like you said earlier, all the people from this region that go out hunting and never come home, that just disappeared. Hikers. No trace of them, nothing. And people still do that to this day.
And then sometimes whenever they are found, they're found in very strange circumstances,
very many pieces.
Literally miles away from where they're supposed to be. And like you just said, they're no longer in one piece.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something that's going on, and this also goes into the situation of the 411. I know you've heard of the 411. And all that.
Cold
cases and stuff like that.
Angeline Moore, she was a cold case file. She's still a cold case file.
Exactly. And there's nothing that can be said that will...
Nothing now.
Make that understand. Exactly.
I mean, I'll take a video of that tomorrow if I get good and bored.
Take them over to the site.
Yeah, she was found on the side of a road in Huckleberry Ridge. What year? I cannot remember.
1800s.
1800s. I know that much.
Late 1800s.
Last time she was seen, she was with her grandma on a horseback.
Well.
Going through a town somewhere. I'll have to brush up on the actual story. But, I mean, she was found on the side of the road, and she was beaten to a point where it was just inhumane. It was inhumane to have ever beat somebody to that point. Right. And it was... one of them things where it's like, did a human do that? Did a human actually do that to that girl? But she was called the orphan girl because there was no trace of her family. Nobody knows where her mom was. Right. Nobody knows where her dad was. Nobody knows anything about this girl, so they just put the orphan girl. They obviously done a DNA on her.
Technically, it wasn't her grandma that she was last seen with. It was her adopted I guess technically be an adopted grandmother.
Really?
But
yeah, because she was literally an orphan. Yeah.
So she lived with this family though, Caleb, and it was the older lady. She was in her late, she was elderly, and her daughter also got charged with the crime. Both of them were.
Really?
They got charged for beating this girl to death.
But basically. They couldn't prove it.
They got acquitted, and they wasn't fully charged with the crime. However, they were actually, the farm that the girl and the two others were at is actually on Huntsville Mountain. Huckleberry Ridge is a ridge that comes off of it and goes down into the Big South Fork. That's where she was found.
Yeah.
And when he says road, that's a very rudimentary term because back then it was
wagon trails.
It was like a horse trail or a wagon trail. It wasn't really a road at all. Which most of our roads up until the last.
I said Huckleberry Road, didn't I?
Yeah.
Well, it's Huckleberry Ridge. Is what
Ridge.
They call it.
Yeah, Huckleberry Ridge.
Huckleberry Ridge.
But what I was getting at though. They weren't. They were charged, but then their charges were dropped because they couldn't prove that they were actually did it.
But that little girl's 15-year-old.
Yes. Well, she was
15 years old.
They determined she was in between 12 and 15. They couldn't prove because she was an orphan. They couldn't prove her exact age.
It says it on the tombstone.
I know, but they just come out on the Independent Herald.
Oh, really?
Yesterday. Did
you hear what happened at Brushy Mountain?
What?
A bunch of paranormal investigators went in there.
Oh, Lord.
And they were doing their thing,
That's not smart.
Well, Brushy Mountain is a crazy place. I've not put it on this channel yet, but I am going to do that when it opens this year.
It's coming up soon, though.
It is coming up soon.
Yeah.
But, this phone has so many features. You can turn the camera back right now without pausing. You can pause it. You can play it. You can take a photo of whatever. So, yeah, I'm going to make a good video of Brushy this year. And many other things. But a bunch of paranormal investigators went in there. And they went into the auditorium.
Oh, freak. Okay.
This girl literally gets possessed.
There's a lot of history.
Right there in the auditorium,
yeah.
She got possessed. Expedition X,
I've seen
Josh Gates.
Yeah,
they
Josh
went.
Gates, yeah.
I actually showed up that day. It's on my old channel, Tennessee Outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
I actually showed up the day they were filming that.
Really?
Yeah, because I wasn't allowed all the way up to the prison.
Right.
I was allowed to drive around the parking lot and just
circle around.
You know, so I took pictures of the outside of it and just made
I remember you doing that. I saw the video. Yeah.
Yeah, they were filming Expedition X that night.
Wow. Okay.
And they were investigating that very thing, where that girl got possessed in the auditorium.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I didn't know if you knew that or not.
I did not know.
There was actually a possession that happened in Brushy Mountain Prison.
I know that there is a lot of dark history at that prison. It's been around since the late 1800s, and it was the longest operating prison in Tennessee state history.
It closed in 2009. It was built in 1860 something.
It was right after the Civil War. Yeah, so it was a very brutal prison. It was surrounded by three sides by sheer cliffs because it's a coal mining prison.
Yeah.
And they had actual coal mines up on the mountain that they used prisoners to go in there, and there's many of them that died back there.
I've got a buddy who will remain nameless. His dad actually spent time in there with James Earl Ray.
I have an idea who you're talking about, but yeah.
I work with him.
Yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, he's the only one that successfully escaped.
Successfully.
We'll say successfully. But he escaped.
Bullshit.
He escaped and went into... it's surrounded by the wilderness.
It's surrounded by many acres of cliff.
And nothing but
woods.
Mountains.
It just...
And that's what...
hard terrain.
That's what East Tennessee is known for, is extreme terrain.
They put that prison right in the perfect spot. Yeah, but they've got that ladder at Brushy.
I know.
That same ladder.
That he is,
James Earl Ray built up a ladder. They went out there and climbed over the daggum wall and took off.
He later regretted it, though, because he ended up surrendering to a little lady not far from there. He didn't make it very far.
No.
The mountains...
They'll get you.
The mountains, that's the same mountains. That's the same mountain chain that we live in. And it is notoriously steep and rugged and is very, very harsh.
That's why most people you see around here that's spend a lot of time in the woods, they're usually pretty fit.
Normally, even if they don't look like they're fit, they usually kind of are, though.
Like me, I'm 220 pounds. But I guarantee you I can outwalk most people from up north because they're on flat land.
Well, not just up north, but in general, people from the cities, they're not used to, the mountains.
Yeah.
My old lady, she's from Texas, and she's from flatland,
Yeah.
And whenever she first moved up here, it took her a while to get used to it. She's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
She can't drive to save her life in the mountains, but it's pretty comical. But
yeah, that's what a lot of people think. When it snows in the north and it's flat, like Ohio, it's flat.
Yeah,
it's not that hard. You can put weight in the back of a 2-wheel drive truck and make it anywhere you're going.
Right.
If you know how to drive in the snow.
Right.
Around here, no, you got to have 4-wheel drive in the mountains. And even that won't protect you.
I'll say this. I've driven in some crazy stuff professionally and,
Yeah, you're talking to a CDL driver right now.
Wasn't going to say that.
No, you're fine. Nobody knows who you are.
But yeah, I'm a professional driver. I've done it for many years, off the books and on the books. But it's definitely different if you go into the mountains rather than driving on flat land. That's definitely the truth. But what we were saying about the ruggedness of the area, though, James Earl Ray, he escaped, but he was only gone for a very limited amount of time.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden he had to surrender himself to a little old lady, and
was it a little old lady?
Yeah, it was.
I missed that part.
Supposedly, this is a story that I heard from an ex-prison guard down there, but he surrendered to it was basically a little farm up on top of the ridge, but he barely made it to that part, and his clothes were like shredded, and he looked emaciated. It was horrible. It was horrible. And he's like, just take me back. Just take me back. And he said it was the worst thing he could have ever done is try to escape. And,
I've heard
that prison was known as the Alcatraz of Tennessee, of the East, and for good reason. And now they made a new prison just one ridge over that is just as fucking horrible.
Oh yeah.
So they closed down the old prison because it was going to be too costly to upkeep it, and built a new one, which doesn't make any sense to me because they spent literally millions of dollars. But whatever. I think we ought to open it back up, just like Alcatraz out west. Open them back up and send all the horrible prisoners there that like terrorists and people, and just like torture them. I mean, did I just say that? But,
well, the thing of it is I feel like if you've done something bad enough to spend life in prison,
I think we should just take you out back and shoot you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
If it's been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt, just take you out back and shoot you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's just don't waste my taxpaying
It's just
dollars.
like the story of the Scott County Jail.
Oh,
there is a story.
Oh, Lord, yeah, I know this.
It was a child predator. Am I right?
It's actually a story from my family. It kind of touches.
Does it?
Yeah. They hung. Well, I'll let you tell the story.
You might be able to tell it better. You might be able to correct what's wrong. All right.
All right, that's fine.
So what I've heard is they had a child predator.
You're close.
In that prison or in that jail, the old Scott County Jail. You can tour that now, and I will do that too on the channel. But they called it Mountain Justice.
Yeah.
They bunch of people broke into that jail, drug that guy out in the yard, hung him from a tree, and I'm like, daggum.
All right.
That's the story I've heard.
I'm going to adjust the story because this comes directly from it happened to a family member of mine. This person, I'm not going to name the name. Y'all can look it up. It's
a big story.
It's easy to find, but this fella, he went in and he murdered my great grandmother and my two great aunts and nephew, aunts and uncles. The only living relative of that was my great grandmother. She's now passed away. She lived to be 90 something, but anyway, that dude he is a preacher's wife that he murdered, and they went in, found the dude, took him to the jail, arrested him, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, the county folk went in and held the jailer at gunpoint and said, "Hey, you can either give him to us or we're going to shoot you and take him anyway." They took him out in front of the jail there, and there's a big old huge oak tree out there.
Yeah.
And there used to be a fence line right there.
There's still a fence
behind it. They tried to hang him with a normal rope. Okay, they tried to hang him with a rope. It broke. They got him another rope. It also broke. They took a strand of the barbed wire out of that fence.
Oh,
they hung him with that barbed wire, and it finally worked.
Oh gosh.
And he is buried. He's actually buried up at Bull Creek in a sideways grave. You're supposed to bury, in Appalachia, you're supposed to bury people north to south and all that good stuff, He's buried west to east.
Huh.
To make sure he never finds his way.
They call that the Mountain Justice.
Well,
that's what I've heard it called.
It's called Appalachia Justice. But yes. Yeah. We take care of our own around here.
Oh yeah, we do. And that's the thing.
And still to this day, we still do.